The diplomatic station floated in the neutral zone between Earth and the Zephyrian Empire, like a giant silver wheel spinning slowly against the backdrop of distant stars. Dr. Marcus. Chen pressed his face against the observation window of the medical bay and watched the alien ships dock one by one. Each vessel brought another specialist, another expert who claimed they could save the dying princess. Marcus had been working on the station for 3 years now. He was the only human doctor among dozens of alien physicians from across the galaxy. Most days he felt like a student learning from beings who had mastered medicine long before Earth even discovered fire. Today was different. Today he might be the only hope left. The medical bay doors slid open with a soft hiss. Dr. Velix, a tall blue-skinned Andromedian with 4 arms, walked toward Marcus. Her usually calm face showed worry. "Dr. Chen," she said in her musical voice, "we need to talk." Marcus turned away from the window. "Is it about the princess?" Velix nodded. Her second pair of arms moved nervously while her primary hands held a data tablet. The Corellian specialist just finished his examination. He agrees with the others. Princess Zara has maybe 12 hours left. 12 hours. Marcus felt his heart sink. He had hoped the Corellians, with their advanced biotechnology, might find something the others missed. The Corellians could regenerate entire limbs and had conquered most known diseases in their sector of space. "What about the Nexari?" Marcus asked. "Their quantum medicine techniques? They tried for 6 hours yesterday." Velix replied sadly. "The stellar plague is unlike anything they have seen. It attacks at the cellular level, but it also disrupts the energy patterns that keep Zephyrian biology stable. Every time they repair the damage, the plague adapts and attacks differently." Marcus walked over to the central medical display. Princess Zara's vital signs showed as weak but steady lines across multiple screens. Her body temperature was dropping steadily. Her crystalline skin, which should have glowed with soft blue light, was growing dimmer by the hour. The Zephyrian delegation had arrived 3 days ago for the most important peace talks in galactic history. Princess Zara was not just the Emperor's daughter. She was also the chief negotiator, a brilliant diplomat who had spent years building trust between their species and humanity. Without her, the talks would fail. Without the peace treaty, both civilizations faced the threat of the Void Hunters, an ancient enemy that destroyed entire star systems. "Where did she get the plague?" Marcus asked. Velix checked her tablet. "The investigation is still ongoing. The stellar plague usually only affects deep space miners who work near certain types of stars. Princess Zara has never been to those regions. Someone must have brought it to her deliberately. Sabotage. Marcus had suspected as much. There were many groups on both sides who wanted the peace talks to fail. The Zephyrian Empire had enemies who preferred war to diplomacy. Earth had military leaders who believed humans should expand across the galaxy by force rather than negotiation. "Can I see her files again?" Marcus asked. Velix handed him the tablet. Marcus had studied these medical records dozens of times over the past 3 days. Every test, every scan, every attempted treatment was documented in perfect detail. The greatest medical minds in the galaxy had tried everything. Antiviral treatments, cellular regeneration therapy, quantum field stabilization, even experimental time dilation healing chambers. Nothing worked. The stellar plague was like a living puzzle that changed its shape every time someone tried to solve it. It consumed the special energy crystals that grew inside Zephyrian cells, the same crystals that gave them their natural glow and powered their unique abilities. Without those crystals, a Zephyrian would slowly fade away and die. Marcus scrolled through the biological data. Zephyrian physiology was completely different from human biology. They had no blood in the way humans understood it. Instead, they had a crystalline fluid that carried both nutrients and energy throughout their bodies. Their organs operated on electromagnetic principles that Earth science was still trying to understand. "Dr. Chen," Velix said gently, "I know you want to help, we all do, but sometimes even medicine has limits." Marcus looked up from the tablet. Through the transparent walls of the medical bay, he could see the Zephyrian delegation gathered in the waiting area. There were 12 of them, all tall and elegant with skin that sparkled like living gemstones. Their usually bright skin had dimmed with grief. When Zephyrians experienced strong emotions, their electromagnetic fields fluctuated, causing the air around them to shimmer and dance. Ambassador Titus, the princess's father and the emperor's brother, stood near the window looking out at space. His shoulders were bent with worry. Every few minutes he would turn toward the medical bay, hope flickering in his large silver eyes only to look away again when no good news came. "Has anyone tried comparing her cellular structure to other species?" Marcus asked suddenly. Velix tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "The plague attacks Zephyrian energy crystals, right? But what if we looked at how other species might respond to the same infection? Maybe we could find patterns or weaknesses that only show up in different biological systems." "Dr. Chen, we have data from 47 different species. None of them have biology similar enough to Zephyrians to provide useful comparisons." Marcus nodded, but something was bothering him. He pulled up the plague analysis on the tablet and studied the way it spread through Zephyrian cells. The infection pattern looked familiar somehow, like something he had seen before in his medical training on Earth. "Velix, can you pull up the data on how the plague actually kills its victims?" She used her lower pair of arms to work the controls while keeping the tablet steady with her upper hands. A new display appeared showing the plague's progression through the body. "First, it targets the energy crystals in the outer skin," Velix explained. "Then it moves to the circulatory system, disrupting the flow of crystalline fluid. Finally, it attacks the central organs, causing complete system failure." Marcus studied the progression pattern. His mind began racing. The stellar plague moved through Zephyrian bodies in a way that reminded him of viral infections he had studied during his residency on Earth. Old viruses that humanity had been fighting for thousands of years. "What happens to other species when they are exposed to the stellar plague?" Marcus asked. "Most species are completely immune," Velix replied. "Their cellular structure is too different. The plague cannot recognize their biological patterns as targets." "What about humans specifically?" Velix paused. She worked the controls again, pulling up human exposure data. "Humans show some interesting responses. The plague attempts to attack human cells but fails because humans lack the energy crystals it targets. However, human immune systems recognize the plague as a threat and begin producing antibodies." Marcus felt his pulse quicken. "Antibodies?" "Yes, but they are ineffective against the plague when it is in Zephyrian hosts. The biological differences are too great." Marcus set down the tablet and began pacing. His mind was working through possibilities that no one else had considered. Human immune systems were incredibly adaptable. They had evolved to fight diseases on Earth, but they also had the ability to learn and remember new threats. What if human antibodies could be modified or enhanced somehow? "Velix, has anyone ever attempted cross-species immune system transfer?" "Dr. Chen, that is theoretically impossible. Immune systems are specific to each species. You cannot simply transfer antibodies from one biology to another." But Marcus was thinking about more than just antibodies. Human immune systems worked differently from any other known species. Humans had survived ice ages, plagues, radiation exposure, and countless other threats that had destroyed other civilizations. They were adapters, survivors who thrived in conditions that killed other forms of life. "What if the transfer was not permanent?" Marcus asked. "What if a human immune system could teach a Zephyrian immune system how to fight the plague, then withdraw?" Velix stared at him. "Dr. Chen, what you are suggesting would require direct biological contact between human and Zephyrian physiology. The risks would be enormous. We do not even know if such contact is possible without killing both subjects." Marcus walked back to the observation window. Princess Zara lay in her medical pod, her skin barely glowing now. Machines monitored her vital signs and provided artificial support for her failing organs. In a few hours, even the machines would not be enough. The weight of 2 civilizations rested on her survival. If she died, the peace talks would end. Earth and the Zephyrian Empire would return to their respective territories. The Void Hunters would continue their advance across the galaxy, destroying world after world. Eventually, they would reach both Earth and the Zephyrian homeworld. Marcus had joined the Diplomatic Medical Corps because he believed in the mission. Humans and Zephyrians working together could accomplish things that neither species could achieve alone. But cooperation required trust, and trust required time to build. Princess Zara was the bridge between their peoples. "Without her, that bridge would collapse, Dr. Chen." Velix said softly, "I can see you are considering something dangerous. Please remember that your death will not save the princess. It will only create 2 tragedies instead of 1. Marcus turned back to face her. What if it was not my death? What if there was a way to establish temporary biological contact? without permanent harm to either party. The medical literature contains no examples of successful cross-species biological integration, Velix replied. The cellular rejection alone would likely kill both subjects within minutes. But Marcus was remembering something from his advanced medical training. Experimental procedures that had been attempted on Earth during the early days of organ transplantation. Techniques that required precise timing, careful monitoring, and above all the willingness to try something that had never been done before. Velix, what if we approached this differently? Instead of trying to transfer my immune system to her, what if we created a temporary bridge? A way for her immune system to learn from mine without permanent integration? Velix was quiet for a long moment. Her forearms moved as she worked through the theoretical framework Marcus was suggesting. You are talking about using your body as a living filter, she said finally. Exposing yourself to the plague while maintaining contact with the princess, allowing your immune system to fight the infection while teaching hers how to respond. Exactly. Dr. Chen, such a procedure would require you to maintain physical contact with Princess Zara for an extended period, possibly days. The strain on your body would be enormous. And if your immune system cannot handle the adapted plague, you would die alongside her. Marcus nodded. He understood the risks. But he also understood something that the other doctors might have missed. Humans were not just survivors, they were stubborn. When a human decided to protect someone, they did not give up easily. They found ways to endure impossible conditions and overcome insurmountable odds. Has anyone asked Princess Zara what she thinks about experimental treatments? Marcus asked. Velix looked surprised. Dr. Chen, she is barely conscious. Her energy levels are too low for complex conversations. But she is still aware? Yes, her mind remains clear even as her body fails. Marcus made his decision. I need to speak with her. Velix stepped in front of him. Dr. Chen, I cannot allow you to disturb a dying patient with experimental theories that may give her false hope. Velix, she is going to die anyway. Every specialist in the galaxy has confirmed it. What harm could there be in asking if she wants to try something different? Velix considered this. Her medical ethics required her to respect patient autonomy, but they also demanded that she protect patients from unnecessary harm. After a moment, she stepped aside. 5 minutes, she said, and I will monitor everything. Marcus approached Princess Zara's medical pod. The transparent cover allowed him to see her clearly. She was taller than most humans, with delicate features and skin that contained flecks of actual crystal. Her hair fell around her shoulders like spun silver, and her large eyes held intelligence despite her weakening condition. As Marcus drew near, her eyes opened and focused on him. She had been following the conversations of the medical team for days, listening as each specialist declared her condition hopeless. Dr. Chen, she whispered in accented but perfect English. Zephyrians were natural linguists able to learn new languages with remarkable speed. I know who you are. You are the human doctor who has been studying my case. Marcus nodded. Your Highness, I wanted to ask you about something. An experimental treatment that has never been attempted before. Princess Zara's eyes brightened slightly. Tell me. Marcus explained his theory about cross-species immune system cooperation. He described the risks honestly, making it clear that the procedure could kill them both. He also explained that even if it worked, the long-term effects were completely unknown. Princess Zara listened carefully. When Marcus finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Dr. Chen, she said finally, how confident are you that this approach could succeed? Marcus considered lying, offering false hope to make her feel better. Instead, he chose honesty. Your Highness, I have no idea if it will work. It has never been tried. The odds of success are probably very low, Princess Zara smiled. It was the first time Marcus had seen her smile since arriving at the station. Dr. Chen, do you know why my father chose me to lead these negotiations? Because you are an excellent diplomat? No, she replied. Because I understand humans. I have studied your species for years. I know that humans often accomplish impossible things simply because they refuse to believe something cannot be done. Marcus felt warmth spread through his chest. This was why the peace talks had been successful so far. Princess Zara truly understood what made humans special. If you are willing to risk your life to save mine, she continued, then I am willing to trust in human stubbornness. Marcus looked back at Velix, who had been monitoring their conversation. The Andromedian doctor's expression was unreadable, but she gave a small nod. "Your Highness," Marcus said, "if we do this, I will need to maintain close physical contact with you for possibly several days. Your people might not understand." Princess Zara's smile widened. "Dr. Chen, my people will understand that a human doctor refused to let me die. That is all the explanation they will need." Marcus reached for the controls to open her medical pod. "Then let me make you a promise, Your Highness. You will be safe in my arms." As the transparent cover slid away, Marcus gently lifted Princess Zara from the pod. Her body felt fragile and light, but he could sense the strength that still remained within her. Around them, the medical bay came alive with activity as Velix began preparing for a procedure that had never been attempted in the history of galactic medicine. In the waiting area, Ambassador Titus looked up as he saw movement in the medical bay. For the first time in days, something was happening that was not another failed treatment or grim prognosis. He watched as the human doctor cradled his daughter in his arms, and for reasons he could not explain, he felt hope returning to his heart. Dr. Velix worked quickly to prepare the medical bay for something that had never been attempted in galactic history. She moved equipment with all four arms, setting up monitoring devices that could track both human and Zephyrian vital signs simultaneously. Other doctors from various species gathered around the observation windows, watching with fascination and concern. Marcus held Princess Zara carefully as Velix explained the procedure. "Dr. Chen, I have consulted with the medical database. There are theoretical frameworks for what you want to attempt, but no actual precedents. We will need to monitor cellular integration levels, electromagnetic field fluctuations, and immune response patterns in real time." Princess Zara rested her head against Marcus's shoulder. Her skin felt warm but was growing cooler by the hour. The crystalline patterns that normally glowed bright blue were now barely visible, like stars fading at dawn. "How long do you estimate the process will take?" Marcus asked. "If your theory is correct, your immune system will need approximately 72 hours to teach her immune system how to fight the stellar plague," Velix replied. "But Dr. Chen, maintaining that level of biological contact for 3 days could be extremely dangerous for both of you." Marcus nodded. He understood the risks, but Princess Zara was running out of time. Her body temperature had dropped another degree in just the past hour. Soon, her biological functions would begin shutting down one by one. Velix finished setting up the monitoring equipment. "I need to explain something important. During this process, your immune systems will be working together. You may experience some of her symptoms, and she may experience some of yours. Your thoughts and emotions might also become temporarily connected." Marcus looked down at Princess Zara. Her silver eyes met his, and he could see both hope and fear reflected there. "Are you ready for this, Your Highness?" "Dr. Chen," she said softly. "Call me Zara. If we are going to share biological functions for 3 days, formal titles seem unnecessary." Marcus smiled. Even facing death, she maintained her sense of humor. It was one of the qualities that made her such an effective diplomat. "Zara," he said, "I want you to know that whatever happens, I will not give up. Humans are stubborn that way." "I am counting on it," she replied. Velix activated the monitoring systems. Screens around the medical bay lit up with data streams showing both patients' vital signs. "Dr. Chen, I need you to lie down on the medical bed while holding Princess Zara. The sensors need to maintain contact with both of you throughout the procedure." Marcus carefully positioned himself on the wide medical bed, keeping Zara secure in his arms. She was smaller than him, fitting comfortably against his chest. Velix attached sensors to both of them, thin cables that would monitor everything from heart rate to cellular activity. "Beginning biological integration sequence," Velix announced to the other doctors watching from outside the room. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Marcus felt normal and Zara's condition appeared unchanged. The monitors showed their separate biological patterns running alongside each other with no interaction. Then, after about 30 minutes, Marcus began to feel something strange. A tingling sensation spread through his arms where he was holding Zara. It felt like mild electrical current, but not unpleasant. "Integration beginning," Velix reported. "Dr. Chen, your immune system is starting to recognize the stellar plague in Princess Zara's body." Marcus felt his pulse quicken. His body was naturally responding to the threat, just as it would to any infection. But this was different. He could somehow sense the plague moving through Zara's system. attacking her energy crystals and disrupting her biological functions. "This is remarkable, Dr. Korvash," an Nexari physician said from outside the room. "Human immune responses are far more aggressive than our models predicted." Over the next few hours, Marcus began to feel the effects more strongly. His body temperature rose as his immune system ramped up production of antibodies and white blood cells. He started sweating, and his muscles ached as if he was fighting off a severe flu. But something wonderful was happening to Zara. The monitors showed her cellular activity beginning to stabilize. Her body temperature stopped dropping and started to rise slowly. Most importantly, the crystalline patterns in her skin began to glow more brightly. "It is working," Velik said with amazement. "Princess Zara's immune system is learning from Dr. Chen's response patterns." Ambassador Titus pressed closer to the observation window. For the first time in days, his daughter's skin was showing signs of improvement. The other members of the Zephyrian delegation gathered around him, their own skin beginning to brighten with hope. As the hours passed, Marcus began to understand what Velix had meant about sharing thoughts and emotions. He could sense Zara's fear and determination, her worry about the peace talks, and her gratitude for his sacrifice. In return, she seemed to understand his stubborn refusal to give up and his genuine care for her well-being. "Zara," Marcus whispered during the second day. "How are you feeling?" "Stronger," she replied. "I can feel your immune system teaching mine how to fight. It is like having a very patient teacher showing me how to solve a difficult problem." Marcus smiled despite his exhaustion. The process was taking a toll on his body. His immune system was working overtime, fighting not just the plague but also managing the complex biological integration with an entirely different species. Dr. Velix monitored them both constantly, adjusting medications and nutrients to keep their bodies stable. Other medical staff took shifts, ensuring that someone was always watching their vital signs. On the second night, Marcus developed a high fever. His body was pushing itself to the limits of human endurance. Velix considered stopping the procedure, but the monitors showed that Zara's immune system was almost ready to take over the fight independently. "Just a little longer," Marcus told Velix through chattering teeth. "She is almost there." Zara held him tighter, trying to share her warmth. "Marcus, you are suffering because of me." "No," Marcus replied firmly. "I am suffering because I choose to. There is a difference." By the third day, something remarkable had happened. Zara's immune system had not only learned to fight the stellar plague, but had actually improved upon Marcus's methods. Her Zephyrian biology allowed her to attack the plague in ways that human systems could not, targeting the electromagnetic patterns that the infection used to spread. "Cellular integration at optimal levels," Velix reported. "Princess Zara's immune system is now fully capable of independent plague resistance." Marcus felt the biological connection between them beginning to fade. His fever broke and his exhaustion started to lift. Most importantly, he could see that Zara's skin was glowing brightly again, the blue crystalline patterns dancing with renewed energy. "Beginning separation sequence," Velix announced. The process of disconnecting their immune systems was gradual and careful. Velix monitored every step to ensure that both patients remained stable as their biological functions returned to normal independence. When it was finally over, Marcus and Zara lay side by side on the medical bed, both exhausted but alive. The stellar plague was completely gone from Zara's system, destroyed by her newly educated immune system. Ambassador Titus was the first to enter the medical bay once Velix declared them stable. He approached his daughter's bedside with tears in his large silver eyes. "Zara," he said softly, "how do you feel?" Princess Zara sat up slowly, her movement strong and sure for the first time in days. "Father, I feel wonderful. Dr. Chen saved my life." Ambassador Titus turned to Marcus, who was still lying on the medical bed recovering from the ordeal. The Zephyrian diplomat bowed deeply, a gesture of profound respect in his culture. "Dr. Chen," he said formally, "the Zephyrian Empire owes you a debt that can never be repaid. You risked your life to save my daughter when all others had given up hope." Marcus sat up with some effort. "Ambassador, I did what any doctor would do. I tried to save my patient." "No," Ambassador Titus replied firmly, "you did what a human would do. You refused to accept the impossible." Word of the successful treatment spread quickly throughout the diplomatic station and beyond. Within hours, representatives from dozens of species were requesting copies of the medical data. The procedure that Marcus and Zara had undergone opened up entirely new possibilities for cross-species medicine. Dr. Korvash from the Nexari delegation approached Marcus later that day. "Dr. Chen, my people would very much like to study your immune system responses. This technique could save lives across the galaxy." Marcus agreed to share the medical data freely. The knowledge belonged to all species, not just humanity. But he made sure to include detailed notes about the importance of the patient's consent and the extreme risks involved. The peace talks resumed the next day with Princess Zara back in her role as chief negotiator. The near tragedy had actually strengthened the resolve of both delegations to reach an agreement. The Zephyrians had seen human determination and sacrifice firsthand. The humans had witnessed the trust and courage that Zara showed in accepting the experimental treatment. The Void Hunters continued to advance through the outer sectors. Princess Zara reported to the combined delegations. "Our intelligence suggests they will reach the neutral zone within 2 years. Both Earth and the Zephyrian homeworld are in their projected path." General Rodriguez, the senior human military representative, nodded grimly. "Our separate fleets cannot stop them. But combined human technology and Zephyrian energy manipulation capabilities might give us a chance." "More than a chance," Ambassador Titus added. "Together, our species can accomplish things that neither could achieve alone. Dr. Chen and my daughter have proven that." The negotiations proceeded smoothly from that point. Mutual defense agreements, technology sharing protocols, and cultural exchange programs were all finalized within a week. The treaty that emerged was more comprehensive than anyone had originally hoped. Marcus attended the signing ceremony as an honored guest. He watched as Princess Zara and General Rodriguez signed the historic document that would bind their civilizations together in friendship and common defense. After the ceremony, Zara approached Marcus privately. "Dr. Chen, I wanted to thank you again for what you did. But I also wanted to ask you something." "Of course, Your Highness. The medical corps is expanding to include joint human-Zephyrian teams. We need doctors who understand both species and can develop new treatments like the one you created. Would you consider leading such a program?" Marcus thought about the offer. It would mean leaving Earth and working permanently in space, developing medicine for species he was still learning about. It would also mean continuing the work he had started, finding ways for different civilizations to help each other survive and thrive. "I would be honored," he replied. 3 months later, Marcus stood in the medical bay of a new joint research station. The facility was designed by both human and Zephyrian engineers, combining the best technologies from both civilizations. He was training a new generation of doctors from multiple species, teaching them the principles of cross-species medical cooperation. Princess Zara visited the station regularly in her new role as cultural exchange coordinator. She often stopped by the medical bay to check on Marcus's progress and share updates from the various worlds where their techniques were being implemented. The Andromedan High Council has approved funding for 12 new research facilities based on your work, she reported during one visit. And the Corellian Medical Academy wants to establish a permanent exchange program with your training center. Marcus nodded with satisfaction. The techniques they had pioneered were spreading across the galaxy, saving lives and bringing species closer together. The stubborn human refusal to accept defeat was becoming a galactic asset. "How are things with the Void Hunter situation?" Marcus asked. Zara's expression grew serious. "The combined fleet is nearly ready. Human engineering and Zephyrian energy technology have created ships unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. When the Void Hunters arrive, they will face something they have never encountered before." "What is that?" Zara smiled. "Species working together instead of alone. Unity instead of division. And if they threaten any of our worlds, they will discover what happens when humans make a promise to protect something." Marcus smiled back. He remembered the promise he had made to her in that medical bay months ago. "You are safe in my arms," he had said, and he had meant it literally at the time. Now he understood that the promise was much larger than either of them had realized. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or subjects, but as protectors and healers. When other species needed someone to refuse the impossible, to fight against hopeless odds, or to sacrifice everything for a stranger's life, they called for humans. The Zephyrian princess had lived. The peace treaty had been signed, and 2 civilizations had learned to trust each other. But more than that, The galaxy had discovered that some promises when made by humans were unbreakable. Marcus returned to his work, training new doctors and developing new treatments. Outside the station windows, ships from dozens of species traveled freely through space that had once been divided by fear and mistrust. The future was uncertain, especially with the Void Hunters approaching, but it was a future that all the galaxy's species would face together. And at the heart of that unity was a simple human truth. When someone needs protection, you do not give up, no matter what the odds.